Hello and welcome back to Man vs. Weed, the cannabis review podcast that asks, are those terps I taste, or are those bugs? I'm your weed store's favorite host, Tango Hotel Charlie. If you've never listened to the podcast before, it's a podcast about legal cannabis through the lens of a 30-year veteran. Each week, my non-cannabis using wife Robin picks a strain for me to try. We do it this way because I'm well versed in LP fuckery and she doesn't pay attention to it. This allows for a range of samples more reflective of your average legal cannabis consumer. This week, Robin chose Chimp Mints by JBuds. She chose it because it was on their special board. It was marked down 15%. The sale price was about $36 for 3.5 grams. That's about $10.30 a gram, or $288 an ounce. And that's on sale. Well over $300 an ounce regular price. I was excited to try this one for a few reasons. The first was all the hype it received from reviewers and casuals on the internet. Another was that it came in a tuna can style jar packed in nitrogen. This is the first sample I've ever tried with this packaging. The final reason I wanted to try this cannabis is because they are marketed as a small batch craft cannabis from right here in BC. JBuds is sold, marketed, and packaged by a company called Joint Ventures. Now normally I'd talk about JBuds and their history and growing practices, but I can't seem to find any of that information. I did, however, take a look at Joint Ventures' website. Joint Ventures is a consulting company that also packages, markets, and sells cannabis. They say their mission statement is to help black market growers transition to the legal market. On their site, you can sign up to sell your cannabis through Joint Ventures. Here's how it works. One of the first things you do is set up a price for your weed. Then you ship it to Joint Ventures. Joint Ventures then ships a portion of that to a Health Canada testing facility at your expense. And if it meets the requirements, they sell your weed and charge you $1 per gram sold. Then, after all the fees are deducted, you get what's left. But before any of that happens, you're going to need a micro-cultivation license. But don't worry, your good friends at Joint Venture can help with that too. So let's take a look at how that all breaks down. So right off the top, you're going to need somewhere around $2,000 to secure your building location. After that, the RCMP needs your fingerprints. For security. That's another $50. Finally, you need to pay for your actual microprocessing license. That's another $1,368. So for those counting, we're at $3,418. On top of this is going to be other fees like that Health Canada test and whatnot. Now here's where it gets interesting. Joint Ventures is charging you $9,900 to consult with you. What that fee covers, I have no idea. That line was left blank in the FAQ. That's $10,000 for some paperwork and phone calls. Why is their fee more than twice what the actual cost is of the license and business location? But there's one more fee, and this one's particularly baffling to me. So for every person on your team, you're going to need a security clearance application. And Joint Venture says that they're going to charge you $1,654 per person that requires that application. That's your master growers and whatnot, whatever. If you go to Google right now, you will find that form along with a clear tutorial on how to fill it out on an official Government of Canada website for free. Seems a little grifty to me. Seems to me like they just want to help transition the black market grower's bank account to their own. This is a predatory pay-to-play system, and since they set the price, they will just pass that cost on to you, the cannabis consumer. But hey, the people who stand to profit off cannabis think you should pay more for lower quality weed with no ceiling on prices, and I'm the asshole for disagreeing. I don't know about you, but to me, this reeks of a hustle. So, the cannabis itself was Chimp Mints by JBuds. Now, as I said, I had high hopes for this one, as there was a bit of a buzz about it online in the last couple months, and I wanted to see what this tuna can thing is all about. Basically, instead of a stupid plastic jar, it comes in a cat food tin that you can peel the sealed lid off, like sardines or something. Inside, the cannabis is packed with nitrogen. This is to prevent oxidation. Oxidation is the degradation that occurs when cannabis comes in contact with oxygen. These tins are near zero oxygen environments. This allows them to, quote, not over-dry cannabis, like all the other packaging options. They say other packaging methods require a, quote, very dry product. so that no mold growth occurs during the long shelf life. That's right, cannabis in Canada has no expiration date. If cannabis doesn't expire, why go to all the trouble of putting it in a nitrogen-filled tin? At any rate, it's nice to see someone acknowledge that they're packaging over-dried cannabis on purpose. When I peeled back the seal, there was a musky aroma of cannabis. Nothing specific, just musk. But there was definitely the aura of terpenes. My initial impression was that it was some of the best bag appeal. Can appeal? I've tried on the legal market. But the bar is low. See, the buds weren't crumbles, but they were all smalls with some stem and leaf. The buds were light green mottled with shades of pink and purple and some orange hairs thrown in. This eighth was on weight, and the buds were much less dry than usual. So far so good, and I'm starting to feel optimistic at this point. Time to pull out the microscope. Under the microscope there is much of the usual crusty trichomes. Only you can prevent trichome abuse. If you know someone abusing trichomes, it is up to you to speak up. Silence is violence. Deeper we go to see the unmutilated trichomes in their natural habitat. They all look healthy, and there are an assortment of cloudy and amber trichomes. This could be a winner, and now my hopes are soaring. But then I see it. Strange black and dark brown flecks. Hopes plummeting. Am I tripping? I look again and find some more. Now, some buds more than others, some smaller, some more oval-shaped and larger. One small piece even had a black fiber in it. I looked at it with my naked eye, and none of this could be seen. I wanted to pick that fiber off, but I could only see it in the microscope. So disappointed. The pieces were spread out such that it took some looking on some buds, but it was there. Some of these things are tiny, so a cursory glance could mean that you might miss them. And if you don't use a microscope, well then you'll have no idea. This was a 3.5 gram sample, and I smoked a gram joint a day for 3 days. The last day obviously was 1.5 grams or so. For each joint I inspected the ground with a microscope, and for each one unfortunately I saw black specks in some of the buds. I take this seriously, and I wanted to be sure of what I was seeing. But there they were, each day. My research says these things are bugs, and previous pictures on the internet of cannabis recalled with bugs in it looked exactly like what I was seeing. I don't know, maybe they're chip mints. No, those are bugs. I gotta be honest, I lost all my enthusiasm to try this flower after seeing that. I really didn't want to even smoke it. But it cost me $35, and there are no refunds. So, for science, I took 3 for the team. The buds were much less dry and dusty than any other sample yet. By day 3, though, they were starting to feel much drier. This is because they're now exposed to oxygen, and there are no free lunches. I suspect it would be fully dry by about a week inside the sealed container. As a result, the buds broke up into a much nicer consistency, and the musky terps were present. There was some minor stickiness, but nothing noteworthy aside from the fact that usually there isn't even that. The joints burned okay, although by the 3rd day it was burning a little quicker, and tried to canoe a little bit. The taste was interesting. When it was good, it had that musky, spicy flavor with a chemi exhale. But other parts of the joint were bitter on the lips, tongue, and throat. And it was also harsh and made me cough. I can only imagine what I was smoking to give it that flavor. No, seriously. Tell my brain to stop imagining it. The ash ranged from dark gray to nicer, lighter shades of gray. The high was just okay and nothing amazing. The 1.5 grams was slightly better than the regular gram joint size, but no shit you can get higher if you smoke more fucking weed. However, even then the stone was short-lived. So here I sit, triple jointed, and all I got was disappointed. I heard the chatter, and people saying good things. I saw the craft labeling, the recyclable tuna cans, and the idea of bringing black market growers to the legal market. All that got me excited. I thought this might be the one. Even the buds look pretty good in the can. But that's the thing. People are clearly not looking closer at their purchases, and maybe they don't care. I ran a poll asking if people had great-looking weed that happened to have contaminants when you looked at it under the microscope, and over half of the 80 people that responded said smoke it over throwing it away. Some even argued that food might have insects in it, so why should they care about smoking bug bodies? The answer to that, of course, is that you don't light your sandwich on fire and inhale the smoke. Not all smoke is equal. A burning log versus a burning tire, for example. Both harmful at differing degrees. Burning cannabis might have some minor negatives, but the vasodilating effects and endocannabinoid benefits outweigh them. I'm not sure the same could be said about bug bodies, or the Health Canada approved sprays that kill them. So, as much as I'd love to say differently, sorry JBuds, this is a no for me. Thanks again for listening to another episode of Man vs. Weed. Make sure to subscribe and like if you want to support the show. And if you're a salty fuck, make sure to give me a dislike on YouTube. Your support means the world to me and your tears sustain me. Find me at StreetVillain on Twitter and email me at manversusweedthc@gmail.com. So until next time, don't shut up, don't just be happy with low-quality, high-priced cannabis. Get high as billionaire nutsacks in low Earth orbit, and free the weed.